Hey everybody. So I have been playing Pokemon TCG Pocket a lot lately, and I don't know if you noticed when I did the Iguaraf and the Oxalotl, I created a holographic background at the end of the video. It had like circles in it that were kind of rainbow colored. This was very heavily inspired by Pokemon cards. So this Charizard here, it's a 2-star Charizard, and the background, you see how it has those squiggles there, like these big, it's almost like a noise texture. And then these squiggles here on the border of the card. So I wanted to try to get as close as I could with Blender, but I definitely got close enough where I think it looks good, and I think it's good enough to show you guys and do a tutorial on how to do it. In Blender, I have a little more than a basic setup. I have a sun here, a camera. I've got no object yet, but we'll add that later. I have an HDRI background here. Let's make a card. So we're gonna Shift A. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna turn on screencast keys so you can see what I'm doing. So now Shift A, we're gonna add a plane, and I want to rotate it in edit mode. So I'm going to tab into edit mode and then rotate it until it faces the front here. And then I'm going to make a loop cut in the center there and in the center there. And I'm going to delete these vertices because I want to mirror it over these two axes. So go to the mirror modifier, the modifiers tab, and search mirror, and then X is already selected, but we want to select Z as well. So now everything I do is mirrored over both. So let's try to get that card shape. Let's turn off the light for now, like hide it in the viewport. And I'm going to add some loop cuts here. Let's add 2 there and 1 here. So these are like kind of looking like squares then. And now I'm going to bevel this vertice. So bevel vertice. And now you can see it's just like, it's a hard bevel. So we want to scroll down, and I want 3 points there like that in between. So it's a total of 5 actually. That's good. And I'm going to hit A. I'm going to hit I, and I want to inset the faces so I get this bordered edge. I don't like that it's inset over here, so I'm going to select all of these vertices, hit X and delete them. And then I'm going to extrude these guys down. Oh, I'm going to turn clipping on first, because you see how when clipping's off, it drags them over, but when clipping's on, it touches them and merges them right there. And then I want to extrude these guys to the middle, and there we go. So that's our card, and then we'll hit A to select everything, and then extrude it back so we get some thickness. And let's add a loop cut right here, and then we'll add a loop cut here as well. I'm actually going to mark it as a seam. So the reason I mark this as a seam, and I'm actually going to mark this one as a seam too. So you mark seam, and if you hit the L key, it will select all of the vertices in an object, right? Normally. So normally it's defaulted to this normal. So when you hit L, it's going to select everything that is a watertight object. What you can do is you can select seam down here instead, and it will select everything on that side of the seam. So now if I wanted to select here, I can add a material here easily, and I can add a material here easily, because what we're going to do is we're going to have those like the middle of the card with one holographic material, and then the edge of the card with another holographic material. And we can also add a back of the card too. So let's get into this area of the card. What I want to do first is I want to apply the mirror modifier, and then with everything selected. So if you don't have everything selected, hit A, and then hit U and project from view. So what that does is, it won't show up here, but what that does is it makes a UV map of just this. And that's what we want. So now we're gonna go in and create our material. So we hit new material, and you have this principled BSDF here. And we want a Voronoi texture. And there's an add-on called Node Wrangler. It's up here. If you go to Edit Preferences and Add-ons, and if you want to search it, you can just start searching Wrangle. Just type WR and it comes up. And if this isn't checked, check that. And then with it checked, hit Control T, and it will bring up these mapping nodes. So right now, the texture coordinate is set to generated. We want to set it to UV. So let's put that there. And then let's take the color and put it in there. Oh, let's also go to material preview. So now you can see we have these weird colored shapes on there. And if we increase this number, we have more. So we're going to use this to make the shimmering effect. And the way we do that is we're going to add a normal map node and then a layer weight node. And then we're going to plug the normal into the normal of the layer weight, plug the color into the color of the normal map, just like that, and then put the facing into our base color. So now you can kind of see how as we rotate our camera, you can see the shimmering effect. And that's what we're going to use to create the holographic effect. Now it's just like weird tiles. What we can do is we can mask this off using the distance. So let's search for a ramp node, a mix color node, and I think that's good for now. So we're gonna put the distance into this color ramp, and then we're gonna put the color into the factor of the mix node. And then we're gonna take facing, put it into A of the mix node, and then plug the mix node into the base color. And now it's looking weird. So what we want is we want circles. So this is, let's see. So if you edit these here, oh no, I had it right. Black on this side. Here we go. So now we have these circles. Let's make the card a little bit metallic and bring the roughness down. So, and then we're going to change this to a nicer color. We'll do like a purple for now, but we're going to add a texture to it later. So you can see now we have a black and white holographic effect, but we want to add it. We want to make, we want to add color, right? We want to add like a rainbow effect. So let's search, we're going to do another ramp, and we're going to make this red here. Make that red. Then we want yellow. Then we want green. And then we want a nice blue there. A darker blue. And a purple. And now we want this to be red, the same red as this side over here, so it blends nicely with itself. And how we do that is we select the red first, go into the red color. This hex value, you want to copy that, and then go over to the white one here, and then paste it there. And now it's a nice rainbow gradient there. And we can just put this right here, and now you can see that our rainbow effect is applied to our dots here. So I want the dots to shimmer more than they are now. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take a color ramp, and I want to kind of ripple it. So the way you do that is I'm going to add more colors, more black and whites here. So I want it to go from black to white to black to white, and then black again. So this one's black, add another one. This one's white, add another one, and this one is black. And then we'll just take this, put it here, and now it's happening faster. So the next thing I want to do is I want these dots to like disappear sometimes and then come back. And the way we're going to do that is we want to add another gradient, and we want to add another mix color node. We're just going to bring the mix into the next mix there, and this is going to be the factor right here, and we're going to use the facing again here. And let's just plug that in there. You can kind of see some of they're disappearing and then coming back, but I want this effect to be there we go. I think that's nice. I used the dots in the axolotl and the Holographic video, and I think I want to use like the stars from like the original Pokemon cards. So let's just change here. I don't know how to say this one, but we're going to change this to Manhattan. And now you can see we have these like diamond shapes that are kind of like stars. But if you edit your gradient here, kind of gives them like a gradient effect, which is really nice. So now we have stars. We want to create those big noise squiggles. So we're going to add a noise texture, Control T, and we want this to be UV again. And then we're going to take the normal map, the layer weight, the color ramp, and the other color ramp. So all four of these, we're going to Shift D, and you get this. And this is not what we want to do, so we're going to add some more nodes to help make it look better. Let's mask it off. Let's get this color ramp over here and duplicate it down here. And we're also going to need a mix shader node. So let's take the facing and put this into here. And then we'll take this color, the factor, and then put this into A, and then we'll put this into the base color. So now we've separated that. I also want to make this a little less rough. Let's make these bigger for now so we can see what kind of shapes we're working with. I also want to change this to hybrid multifractal and make this a little bit bigger. So now this looks like a weather radar. And we don't want that. We kind of want these to be outlined. So we're going to edit the gradient to make that look that way by putting a black in the middle and then whites around the outsides. So make these whites And you can see we're getting close to that squiggle effect on those cards, but they kind of stretch this way. So we're going to play with the mapping over here. We're going to drag this out and we're going to duplicate this one. And then in this mapping, we're going to stretch this to 0.3. So we got the stretch. And then we're going to, on this mapping node, we're going to rotate it 40. And now we have that vertical stretching going on there. Now, if you look at the cards in TCG Pocket, the rainbow gradient kind of goes over them differently than how this is happening here. Like the red is in the middle of these lines. We want it to go over differently. So let's change this. I think we need to duplicate the noise texture, and we'll duplicate all of this and make it smaller. And then we also need to duplicate this and then place these in here. And now you can see it's not going in between the lines. It's a little offset more. And I think I want to edit this. I don't want this to be as ripply. So let's delete some of these. And that's looking pretty cool. And we can even make this a little bit smaller. And we can make this smaller too. Now, what we want to do is we want to mix what we have here with the stars we had before. So the way we do that is, remember how we're masking here? This mask is telling Blender where to put the stars and then where to put the material where there are no stars, right? So we want these squiggles, we want these to be the background of those stars. So now let's put the stars into the base color, and we're gonna bring this mix into where our colors are here. So into both B areas. And now both gradients are mixed in a way that I like. Now another thing you can do is we can make these stars shine a little brighter by plugging them into the emission area of the material. So emission is the material giving off light, and normally it's set to 0. But I want to use this mask here and this mask here to kind of alter the emission. So we need these two, and we're going to make these purples black. And then we're going to plug this in here and this one down here. And if we put this into the base color, you'll see it's not doing what I want it to do. There we go. There it is. Okay, so we took this, and we put it into the factor here, and we got white and black, and then we're using this one to kind of have them turn off and turn on the same way that the color ones are. So now we're viewing this effect. Let's put what we had before on the color, and then we're going to plug this into the strength. And now it's just making these white, right? So now we have to plug the color also into the color of the emission. And now our stars are a lot brighter than they were before. So that's looking pretty good. Now we're going to do the border of the card. So we're going to come over here and we're going to come to the materials part of this tab. Click material. You see we have 1 here. We're going to hit the plus button to get another material slot and then press the new to get a new material there. Then we're going to go back to our old material, our other material, and we're going to get some stuff. So we're going to select all these with the box selection with B, and then hit Control C, come over to our new material, hit Control V. Now we want these to be gray, so just going to make them gray colored and then drag this over here. Another way we can edit this color more easily is if we Shift A to add a RGB node. And then we can plug this into both of those colors, and then we can edit, and it will edit those both. It'll edit them both simultaneously. So we currently don't see this new material. So let's tab into edit mode, hit A twice to deselect everything, and then mousing over the border, like you want to mouse over one of the vertices in the border and hit L. Oh, that's K. Hit L. We got our border selected, and then with this material selected, so not this one, but this one, we hit the sign. And now you can see our border turned white because that's what our material currently is. So that's good. Tab back out, and now we can edit the material. So let's just put this in here and see what we have. So we currently have those stars there, and that's not exactly what we want. We actually want some weird variation of the Voronoi texture. So we're going to put this back to the word that I can't pronounce, and we're also going to make this kind of small. We're going to take the roughness out, take the randomness out. It's actually not showing anything right now. But we want to use a magic texture to edit this Voronoi texture. Let's see if it'll show anything. So yeah, right now you can see this rainbow. Let's make this number bigger again, just to, now we got this nice cool disco pattern here, which is actually kind of nice. But we don't want to use that. We want to make those like squiggly lines there. And the way I found closest to do that is to use a magic texture. And we're going to plug this vector into the vector of the magic texture. And then we're going to take the color of the magic texture and plug it into the vector of the Voronoi. And now it looks really weird. Let's turn this down to 0.8. And let's turn this up to, let's see, 50, I think. And you can see we're getting somewhere here. We're going to turn the distortion to 1.9. And you can play with these values and kind of get something that you like. I'm actually going to make this number smaller. So that's looking pretty cool. We want our material to be more metallic, so we come over the principled BSDF, and then we'll make it some metallic. We'll turn down the roughness. I think I want to make this gray a little darker. That's looking pretty good. So yeah, you can play with these values and get something that you might be able to get something closer than what I have. I want this color to actually ripple more. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag these back. Can leave this like that there. And then we want to open this up here. And we want to duplicate and put this in the middle there. And with the way these gradients are set up, it's going a little bit too fast. So I'm going to remove some of these color slots and then drag these out. And let's look in the rendered view. Let's make sure the rendered view is clear. And that's looking pretty nice. Let's bump this up a little bit. And again, you can just edit values and see if you can get something that looks a little more like the cards. I think that looks fine for now. Let's add the artwork to the card. So to add the artwork here, you want your background, and then you want your character separated, and you want your character to have a transparent background. And we're going to plug these in, not to this material for the border, but the material for the inside of the card. And the way we're going to do that is this color here, we want our artwork to replace this purple here. So we're going to add in an image texture. And then in the image texture, we're going to hit this little button here. And that'll show us our loaded images. And I'm going to select the background. And then all we have to do is just plug that into where that color is. And you can see our background is showing up there. And if you don't like how it's placed, you can just select everything in there, then come over to the image editor and change, like just, move and scale your UV pieces to get what you want. And now you can see that that's edited a lot of what we've done here. Like it's edited the scale of everything. So we have to go in and tweak some numbers here. So just gonna make that a little bigger. Come over to our stars. Nope, that's way too big. We want those a little bit smaller. There we go, that's nice. And then we'll go to our background too and adjust the scale. That looks pretty good. Actually might like that better. Okay, so now our background is there, and let's actually, this is looking a little dull right now. So for our render later, we're gonna come up here to this camera area and scroll down to color management. And the look here, you can change that from none to high contrast. And that kind of bumps up the color values a little bit. The lights and the dark contrast. I think that looks better. Anyway, so let's go and add our character to this background. So we have the background. We're going to duplicate that texture. And then we're going to change this here to the character image we have loaded. We also want to add a mix color node, and then we want to plug the color of the character to B, and then the color of the background to A. We want to use the alpha channel from the character and put that into the factor. And I hope this is right. When I plug this in, we'll find out. So now our character's there and our background's there. But now our holographic texture is going over the character, and we don't want that. So now, I guess if we plug this in here, that's kind of what we want for on where the character is. We'll bring that back, So we're going to do another mix node, and we're going to plug this into B, and then we're going to plug this into A, and then we're going to use the alpha channel again there for the factor, and then plug that in, and now our holographic texture is only applied to the background. But now our stars, the emission texture is happening on our character, and we don't want that either. So we're going to make this look even more complicated. Let's see if I just duplicate this, plug this into A, and then I want that to be black. So if I use this alpha channel here and then plug this into the strength, now it's gone. Because we want the areas where the character is to be black, and that sets the emission to 0. So let's add like a white background here just to kind of show you more what it looks like. I think this will help. And then, so we got white background there, and then we're going to take our light and we're just going to rotate it, select the light and rotate it here. Maybe we'll bring it up a little bit. Bring that background back. And I think that's about it. I hope you learned something here. I know I did, and that's why I wanted to show you. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.